slow them down just a little bit, even if you hit them, whether you hit them or you just get them.
Fired, caught, Ertz. The Eagles finally get the lead with 3:13 to play in the fourth, and they're up by 3. Off they go. Catches make it to first and a lot more. Julio Jones out in front. He's going to go all the way. 54 yards on a 4th and 3. 4th down. Here's your ball game. And the pass is picked off in the end zone. Mahomes flushed out again all the way back. Turning the corner. Fires downfield. Caught. Touchdown. Only Mahomes.
There we go. This is how they break things down when you get set for the game out in L.A. Get out there, Chris.
Not a chance.
3rd and 8. Flip it out. Caught. Another broken tackle. And all the way into the end zone.
Hi, everybody. We want to alert you to the fact that we now have severe weather moving through the area and an active tornado warning that includes Anderson County, Clemson, off toward the east right here. As this line of storms is pushing through our area, we are seeing some tornadic signatures out of this. We've been watching it very closely, moving out of Hart County into parts of Anderson County, and it does appear now that we have some rotation on the tail end of this system here as it's pushing through the area. We'll zoom in here to parts of Hart County. Cedric alongside me watching this very closely as we've seen this move through Hart County. We've got a tornado warning for Hart County, Anderson County. This does go for another 30-45 minutes. It does include Hartwell, Reed Creek, and Anderson, and right in here is where we're getting some rotation here in Hart County. Let's put a track on this and ID some of this right in there. Cedric drawing it for me there as this pushes off toward the east-northeast into Anderson County. This does include you folks in Townville, right along the I-85 corridor. Hartwell, Holland Store, downtown Anderson by 8:26. This is a strong line of storms that has had a history of producing damaging winds. We've even had some confirmed tornadoes back toward Alabama, and now we've got an active tornado warning here for parts of Hart County and Anderson County with these strong winds that are pushing through the area right now. Heads up on Lake Hartwell. This is going to go through a chunk of Lake Hartwell right here. 68-mile-per-hour winds right here with this rotation going in right in here, right along Highway 366 right there in Hartwell. It is approaching downtown Hartwell, then Reed Creek, then eventually along Lake Hartwell right here into Anderson County. We're talking about Flat Shoals right in here, Gold Mine, Highway 21, Highway 81 right here, heading toward downtown Hartwell. We've got that rotation right in here. The wind speeds are around 70 miles per hour, and we're getting some circulation out of that. This is just south of you folks in Livonia, and what we were concerned about is you've had a storm system to the south that was moving up like this, and you've had another one moving out of Franklin County and Livonia County. The two combined in that twisting and turning of the winds has us with some circulation right here, just south of you folks in Shoal Creek, just east of Cannon right there. This is pushing up toward the north and east toward Reed Creek into parts of northern Hart County. And as this continues on its same path, would continue across the border from Georgia into South Carolina, putting it right now at 8:05 in Reed Creek, Mount Olivet at 7:59 as this tornado warning continues into Anderson County as well. We'll pull out a little bit. We'll show you when it arrives into Anderson County here. We've got these concerns for North Lake, right along Highway 178 right here, going into parts of Greenville County eventually. So putting a track on it, we've got it in Hartwell at 8:04, New Light at 8:16, North Lake by 8:26, and then Anderson by about 8:30 right here as there continues to be some rotation in the tail end of this storm right here, and it does have some very strong winds. We have had a history of this producing damage back toward the west as well, with multiple trees down, power outages right now in parts of Oconee County as this continues to push off toward the east. And you see that tornado impact. It hasn't climbed above 1 today, and now it's at about 1.2 there in parts of Hart and Anderson counties as this pushes off toward the east here. Now, for you folks watching us along this line, there are some indications that this line is getting more energetic. It's energized a little bit here for some upper level energy that's moving through. We've got strong winds now approaching Travelers Rest, Greenville, but the most concerning part of this storm is right here across Anderson and Hart counties, right along. I mean, it's paralleling right along I-85 right here. So Hart County County, pushing into Anderson County. A fresh track here for you. Hartwell, 806. About 821 for La France. 830 for Northlake. Piercetown at 839. As this moves through at about 45 to 50 miles per hour here. Let's click this warning here, give folks an idea of where it's going there, Cedric, as this pushes off toward the north and east, right along the I-85 corridor. This tornado warning includes Anderson and Hart counties until 8:30 tonight. We've got another 30 minutes of this cell moving through. We're watching it online, and it's right there. We'll pause it right there, Cedric. Okay. It's a clear signature there that the tail end of this heavier line that extends up into Traveler's Rest is beginning to rotate. And you always have to watch the ends of these lines because you got multiple things happening. You've got a lack of wind down there, which is causing this to kind of start to energize. So get to your safe place right now in Hart County. Cedric, let's go on down to that graphic there with our safe place, and we'll show that to folks, because if you're hearing the sound of our voice in Hart County and in Anderson County, you need to get to your safe room. So where is that? You want to get to the innermost part of your house. You want to get to the lowest level of your house. If you have stairs, you want to get to the lower levels here, most interior part. The best place you can be, under a stairwell, a bathroom. The pipes in the walls really help keep those walls more sturdy. And even if your home is hit by a tornado, those rooms are oftentimes the safest place that you can possibly be. But live Super Doppler 4 HD, our very own live Doppler, sitting off of I-85 right now in a perfect spot to watch this cell move out of Georgia into parts of South Carolina right here. This line extends from southern Henderson County all the way down into the upstate. The most concerning part of it right here across Hart and Anderson counties. And let's zoom in right here into Hart County, Cedric. Right here, just north of downtown Hartwell, is the most concerning part and could be a tornado right now with this rotation right here south of Reed Creek, north of Hartwell, producing this rotation and incredibly strong winds that have been as high as we've seen here lately. It peaked at 68 miles per hour. Now we got 60-mile-per-hour winds in and around Hartwell, and this is pushing east into Anderson County. So you folks that are hearing us in Starr, Iva, up into Anderson, you need to be seeking shelter right now. Get to the innermost part of your home. If you have family or friends that live in this area, you need to get them on alert right now. Give them a call. Let them know what's going on. We're streaming this on our app. If your power goes out there in Anderson County or Hart County as this pushes on through. And Cedric, right now this warning is the only tornadic side of it, but we're watching this line all the way up into Greenville County for any other kind of rotation as well.
Yes, Chris, and of course we've been tracking this line because the leading edge of the line has been producing a long history of damaging winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour as it's moved all the way from East Texas all the way across the Gulf Coast states and now here into the Carolinas. And we've been tracking that line as it made its way through, and we started noticing a couple of trends with that line as it was moving on through the area. One of that being is that the line was starting to move a little forward in North Carolina and then slow down in South Carolina. And so what you have is you have winds rushing ahead and winds holding back, and that allows for that little bit of a curvature as we were talking about earlier, or a little bit of a spin showing up. So as we take a look here at the radar now, you'll be able to see on live Super Doppler 4 HD, we've got a massive shield of moderate to heavy rain. So that's something that we're all going to experience. And on the leading edge of that, as that rain begins to make its way into the area, we're seeing those very strong gusty winds. But then this is some of the areas here that we're watching here. You'll notice here some of our radar technology here indicating that potential rotation in the atmosphere here. And this stretches basically where we are watching for that potential tornado there, just again around the Anderson area and to the south and west right now, but moving that way. And that's kind of where we have that little curvature there. So what we can do is we take a look at live Super Doppler 4 HD and help it to analyze the wind in the atmosphere. It can actually detect or measure how much the winds are blowing to and from the radar. And again, we're seeing there kind of right where you have that potential tornado sitting on the northeast side of Hartwell there, we're seeing some very strong winds. Let me see if I can get you a little estimate here right now live, and we'll be able to show you here what velocity is estimating here. Again, right now we're estimating winds anywhere between 60, 70 miles per hour showing up here. Those are just the winds. That's not an indication if it's spinning or not, but those are just the winds that are indicating there. So whether you have the tornado on the ground or not, that is producing damaging winds right now as it's over the northeast portions of the Hartwell area there. But again, we're also watching for that potential of that tornado that could sit right there on the northeast side. And this again will be making its way just south of the Reed Creek area, but will be also approaching the Anderson area as well. And Chris, I know you continue to keep an eye on this as well.
Yeah, we're watching that very closely. We're getting reports of damage back toward parts of Oconee County. Now we're getting some reports of damage from the strong winds in Greenville County. But you're right here in Hart County, a clear signature that this could be a tornado south of Reed Creek, north of Hartwell as it moves across the Georgia line into Anderson County right here. Watching it very closely because as this line pushes north and east, we're able to see that it's continuing to intensify. This is the tail end of that line that's the strongest. Mason's Crossroad at about 818, North Lake at 826. And as this moves over Lake Hartwell, we've seen it time and time again as this moves out of Georgia into South Carolina. That lack of friction from the lake allows the wind to speed up, and you'll oftentimes get these things to reinvigorate or strengthen a bit. But that is a clear signature right here on the tail end of this. And let's zoom out just a bit. Cedric will show you that is the tail end of the main line that's pushing through, that extends up through Clemson into northern Anderson County through Pickens and in Greenville County. So the lights are flickering in northern Greenville County. I just saw a report in Travelers Rest of that. We've got power outages up and down this line as it pushes off toward the east. For you folks watching in Greenville, 825 would be some of the stronger winds and the heavier rain that's moving through your neck of the woods. Spartanburg just before 9 o'clock, and it's booking it off toward the east. It'll be in Gaffney at 9:04. The most concerning part of this, the tornado warning here in Anderson and in Hart County. Strong wind right in here. Let's look at the velocities here. Greenville case.